how can advisors evolve their trust and advisory service offerings for the future investor? To learn more, I'm joined by Jamie Hopkins of Bryn, Mawr Trust. Jamie, pleasure having you here.
That's great to see you.
Always love getting to talk to you and getting under the hood a little bit. So want to start with kind of an interesting question. Why will bolt-on advisory services be the most important thing for wealth firms over the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing. I've taken this stance, and I was on a panel one time, and they said, what's going to be the biggest thing? Went down the list, right? 3 of the 4 all said AI. And then I was like, I don't think so. I think it's bolt-on services. And so bolt-on services includes trust services. You think about the tax service part of the wealth world's grown tremendously over the last couple of years, the holistic plans and other tax tools. And right now you're seeing the growth of these estate planning tools. And to me, that is kind of a precursor for then building out a more holistic suite of trust and estate offerings behind it. But we kind of need tools and education on the front end. So we're right there. But look, this is going to drive a lot of the wealth transfer in the world. Advisors do not want to be left behind in that. And it's coming now. Like, we're nearing that point where this is actually going to start churning over. So firms got to get ready.
So how should advisors then be thinking differently about the great wealth transfer and trust services? What's your advice there?
Yeah, so my advice is a little different here again, too. A lot of people say focus on that like G2 or G3 family member. So how do we get in front of the kids? To me, I think that's a lot of wasted effort. I don't think a lot of kids want to use their parents' advisors, even if they have a great relationship. You see some of it, but a lot of times if they have 3 kids, 2 of the 3 kids are going to go pick different advisors, right? At best, you're going to keep one of them. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but it's not going to solve this whole issue. A bigger part, actually, banks and trust companies got right decades ago was manage the estate, right? Like, get in that business of holding the trust assets and really getting appointed as the investment fiduciary underneath. And that's starting to grow. There are more and more, I'd say, trust companies like Bryn Mawr Trust working with advisory firms now to be corporate trustee, but having the advisor own the relationship and manage the money.
Well, I love that we're 2 for 2 on contrarian stances. That's why I always love talking to you. So to round it out, though, what is the first step for advisors to learn more about offering trustee services?
So I think one of the first things is, are you trying to build an enterprise or just solve your clients' issues? If you look at the enterprise firms, the big firms in the space, they have to consider, should we buy a trust company? And a couple have, but some are going to decide we don't want to be in that business of actually running a trust company. So then you go partner. If you're really just trying to solve one-off client needs, as weird as it sounds, I think you just kind of wait till the issue comes up and then you go find somebody to help with that one. But what we're going to see is more firms creating white label partnerships with trust companies to be able to offer, right, Jamie Hopkins Wealth Management Trust Services, but not actually be in the business, but I get to manage all the assets. So for an advisor, I think that's the really optimal long-term situation. But today, you just need to get more knowledge in the estate planning world. What I see over and over again, advisors do not know trust well at all. It is probably one of the biggest areas of weakness from a knowledge standpoint. We covered a little bit in CFP, but if you ask people about grantor retained trust, and then that's a fairly simple thing in the trust world, and most advisors can't explain it well. So education there is super important. So I think get educated and figure out how you want to serve this community.
I think that's a great place to start. So Jamie, as always, appreciate your perspectives. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
For wealthmanagement.com, I'm Shannon Rosic.